down.
What, Saucy, what you really need to do is instead you need to be playing more seriously and not focusing so much on Callista's backside. That's
You know what I
Saucy.
need to be focusing on?
What's that?
Our sweet intro theme song.
Wait, I'm dancing. We're not even on camera. Hello and welcome back to Runeterrable Radio, episode number 17. I'm your host, Blevins. Joining me, as always, is Saucy Mailman. What's up, buddy?
Hey, dude, how's it going?
It's going great. I was dancing to the theme song like I always do, but we're recording this one. I mean, we're recording it live in the sense that we're both here at the time of this recording, alive and well, and recording live, but we're not on Twitch right now. We're taking a week off. We're quarantining ourselves. We didn't want to get Twitch chat sick.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I'm going to take the blame for this one. So we're not doing a video like we normally do, and we're not streaming it live. And we had some scheduling conflict issues that lined up. Yeah, we had a guest and things didn't work, whatever. But also, I am greater than moderately ill right now. And I didn't want to be on camera because I am a vain bitch. And also, I may need to take breaks to breathe because 50% of the show caught the coronavirus.
Ooh. Well, as long as you're laughing about it, we can all embrace and laugh as well.
Luckily, I'm not that bad. I'm alive.
Yeah, which is really good news. So we're gonna forward along, and just for reference here, so people don't think I'm a monster. I did say, hey, if we wanted to take the week off, we could.
Oh, yeah.
But Saucy is a trooper and demanded that we record anyway. So
yeah,
here we are.
We got stuff to talk about. We got Runeterra that happened, and it's awesome. Blevins, you said you've been making some waves on the ranked progression, right?
I have. I am almost diamond now.
Nice.
So I've been inspired the last couple of weeks, actually by Gummy to play more ranked. I've also been watching some more tournaments. Actually, Casanova and I did a English rebroadcast of an EU a German content creator tournament that Riot did. So I've been like in the competitive mindset more. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a push for it. I kind of want to hit master. I know, like I've been floundering around plat for like a couple of weeks now, and I've finally found a deck that I've been progressing with. Like,
what have you been playing?
I have been playing Elise Darius aggro spiders. Like,
nice.
All in aggro spiders. Like, there is no late game for this deck.
No, you're out of cards by turn 4.
Yeah, it's I'm finding, and I have a feeling that when I hit diamond, or I mean, maybe I can still keep doing it in diamond, but up into a certain point, people are probably going to play more conservatively against me because people are like, I can just take an extra hit here. Like, I don't need to trade on turn 1. It's like, oh, you took 3 on turn 1 when you could have traded your hawk, your hawk. It's
Omen
like,
hawk?
Or Omen Hawk. Well, not Omen Hawk.
Was the 2 Fleet Feather guy?
Fleet Feather Tracker. Like, oh, you didn't trade that. You got greedy. Ooh, that's gonna cost you.
3 extra damage.
Every point of damage matters, and optimizing that is very important. So again, like, I think a lot of people understand in Runeterra at least, but I've been making the argument for Hearthstone and for Magic for years. It's like the aggro deck is actually very nuanced, and for whatever reason, this one speaks more to me than like the P&Z aggro decks have. Something about I think it's Boom Crew Rookie for some reason. Like, it's hard for me to conceptualize. I think that card is it's very good, but B, it's like, are you ever supposed to block with that card? Maybe, and I think that the times that you are supposed to block with it, knowing when those are is a very valuable like knowledge.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's much tougher than I thought it was.
And they're like they're different decks, even though they're both aggro. They're just as different as just like War Mother's control is a lot different than like Karma Heimerdinger control, right? They're both control decks, but they're like, for me, I love War Mother's control, and I don't have as much fun with the Karma Heimerdinger control deck. And I'm a control player, but like you said, they're just, you like that version of aggro different than the P&Z burn deck. They're just different aggro decks.
Yeah, it is very much a follower heavy, obviously with spiders being the main theme. It's like there's so many axes of killing them with this deck. It's like you can overwhelm them with spiders. There's multiple ways to pump them. Frenzied Skitterer is still an insane card on both offense and defense.
He's even better when you actually have spiders.
Right. He can basically fog their whole turn if they're playing, like if you're in an aggro mirror, he just stops their attack, and even one turn of like keeping them from being on the front foot is absolutely huge. Crowd favorite is another huge one. Like just having overwhelm is really, really good, especially when you're running, like I'm running Elixir of Iron. No, Iron is the Elixir
Wrath?
Elixir of Wrath. Yeah, Elixir of Iron is the Freljord one. Elixir of Wrath and all sorts of pump spells, and Darius as well. People don't play around Darius. Like people don't expect it to come. I mean, people have gotten a little bit better at like blocking appropriately and actually looking at the little eye on the side to see if they're gonna die because Darius can flip mid combat, which
yes he can.
When in the first couple of weeks, and I guess before Plat, man, people just would be putting themselves dead on board for no good reason. Like it's like you just needed to block an extra thing and you wouldn't have died here, but you didn't count the Darius flipping.
Yeah, Overwhelm is just like an interesting mechanic. Even like I put out a YouTube video today from I did this Thresh War Mother's control game, and the dude I played against just didn't factor in Tryndamere Overwhelm damage and it was just like, I think he like. I don't remember if he glimpsed his own guy or like it got vengeance or something. I don't remember, but like he didn't factor in his guy dying, and he's going to still take full overwhelm damage.
Yep.
It's a thing. I want to have you. So speaking of spiders, and I know we had Swim on last week, who's a big fan of the spider decks. Have you seen the They Who Endure spider deck that's kind of like all over now? What do you think of that deck?
So I would implore everyone listening to this to watch in the I know it is a video on Casanova, twitch.tv/Casanova Hots. Go to his channel. He played actually in the semifinals of the Monokuma weekly tournament against Hyped. Hyped was playing that deck, the Spiders deck, and Casanova played 2 games against it. That's one of the better. That was a really, really close set. You should definitely check out that video. But yeah, I have seen that deck. I saw it played by Hyped a bunch on his stream, and I did build it. And it's funny because we've got 2 aggro decks, like a P&Z burn deck and the Darius Spiders deck. Those are completely different aggro decks. You've got the Darius Spiders deck and the She Who Wanders Spiders deck, and those are completely different Spiders decks. It's like they're not even close. Like that deck is so much more of like it's almost like a control combo deck
because it runs like Ruinations in it. It runs Tryndamere and Thresh.
Atrocity.
But then you're also running, it runs Atrocity. But then you have stuff like the Icevale Archers. You have Hapless Aristocrat.
Right.
It's running a full 3 copies of Crawling Sensation even.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, it's really like, again, there's so many angles of attack in those decks. And I think that's what we're really seeing as like what really sets apart a lot of these decks. It's like you've got that Iceborne Spiders deck. It's like, yes, you can win by making all of the spiders that you're creating 3/3s or 5/5s or whatever. You can just win with Elise the old-fashioned way and just get a flipped Elise and just control combat for the rest of the game. You can win by making a lot of effective trades, chipping them down, and playing a gigantic She Who Wanders, which is hard to deal with. You've got Atrocity to win out of nowhere, and you've just got the shell of a regular like SI Freljord deck, like of a SI Freljord control deck. Like there's so much, and like the Darius Spiders is like you can go wide, you can go tall. I guess you kind of go both when you play a crowd favorite, but like there's so much that you can do that like knowing where you need to be in which matchup and like depending on the board state is a huge skill tester in any card game, but in Runeterra I think we're really starting to see that fleshed out when we're watching higher level play. It's kind of crazy. Obviously when the game first came out, like super excited about the game, picking it up and loving it, and then like we've been playing throughout the last month or so, a little more than that, and I feel like now going from constructed to playing like mostly limited back to constructed again, like I feel like I have a better appreciation of the game as a whole now that I'm like focusing a little bit more on high level competitive, even not necessarily from my playing perspective, but from watching and consuming content. I feel like it was like a second win to me. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I think in this game more than others, like archetypes are more nuanced. It's harder to jump between different archetypes. Like and a lot of it comes from how combat works, because every creature essentially has haste and vigilance if you're thinking Magic's turn. So like when to block and trade and not is so nuanced and so important. And like especially when you're playing these aggressive decks that have spells, you're like, all right, I want to play this 1-drop, but do I need the extra spell mana on turn 2 for a combat trick? Things like that. I was playing I had just a little bit of time earlier while I was exporting a YouTube video, and I played an expedition run, and I just went full mono Noxus aggro. I'm like, I just want this to be fast. And there were so many times I'm like, man, I don't want to play my 2-drop because I want the spell mana for a Whirling Death next turn, or to play Might. It's just like those are things that you wouldn't do in like Magic the Gathering. You're spending all your mana every turn, and you're playing your dudes every turn. You're playing your lightning bolts every turn. So it's a lot more nuanced, and I think people don't think about that or give it credit. In the same way that it's hard to go between switching from, like, if you're trying to ladder up aggressively, I think in this game more than any, sticking to one deck rewards you a lot more because you get the ins and outs. Than like in Hearthstone, when I'm laddering up, I'll just switch between a good aggro deck, a good mid-range deck, a good control deck, depending on what I'm seeing, and you could fluidly switch between them. I make a lot of misplays when I switch between playing like War Mother's control, and I'm like, all right, I'm doing bad at this. Let me try to play combo Ezreal. Like, I'll misplay a lot more than if I just stick with playing combo Ezreal.
Yeah, it feels like the matchups themselves are and like the playing your deck specifically to a matchup or even a situation, regardless of matchup, is super, super, super important. It's like I think the Ezreal decks are maybe control decks in general are a big proponent of this, but like the Ezreal deck specifically, it's like if I'm playing the Ezreal mirror, I'm like it's kind of like old control mirrors in Magic where it's like I'm not actually playing a spell. I just want to play lands every turn and not discard to hand size. Like the first person who misses a land drop is like super far behind, and it's like in that mirror, it's like the first person who has to play something that can get targeted and start getting charges on the Ezreal and like actually being able to get cards out of your hand for some amount of value is like, that's not good.
It's funny because people make fun of me all the time because I love to play control, and my favorite thing is doing nothing. And I always say that. I'm like, any turn where I can safely literally not play a card is a turn that I feel better because I have more card advantage on the next turn. Like, I love having more cards and if I can safely do nothing, if I can hold that avalanche for another turn without dying, that's when I'm happy.
Yeah, and on the aggro side, it's like if I can go a turn and not block, I'm feeling so good. I really I want to be able to, like, I don't know if it was Gummy or Casanova or someone else that I I don't. They probably didn't coin the phrase, but maybe it was bagels. But I certainly heard them saying it. It's like you need to turn your NA aggro brain on. Like it's like so often I'm like, yeah, like I can block here, and like it's a good value trade. It's like I'm trading a 2-1 for your 3-2, right? But it's like, well, your 3-2 can't block. And I
And your
kind of
2-1
just
gets value when you attack.
as long as I'm not at 0, I don't care what I'm at, and I want
Mm-hmm.
you at 0. And it's
Yeah.
like little
One
things
of
like
us needs to
that.
be at 0, and it's not me.
Yeah, as long as it's not me, I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I was afraid, not afraid. I was a little bit concerned, like before having ever even played the game at all, that like this is a core set and like we're gonna like the community is gonna figure it out super quick, and it's just gonna be like, oh well, I guess we're playing. I mean, in preview patch 1, everything was that like SI Freljord, Tides of Time ramp deck. Do you remember those days? Like
Yeah.
way back, before all the ramp cards got nerfed. I'm like, well, it's just going to be SI Freljord mirrors forever, and okay, well, whatever. I can live with that, but
Yeah.
having played for this long, I'm actually getting a greater appreciation for the game in general. So
Yeah, and
it's great.
that it's something we bring it up every week because it still amazes me every week that the meta completely changes, or it doesn't completely change, but like there's a new deck that just appears.
Yeah.
And it's funny because if you just look online, because I love to just comb through Reddit. I never post, but I love to watch people whine and bitch about things, and looking at like, oh man, yeah, the Shadow Isles Freljord control deck's gonna be unbeatable. Oh man, the Ezreal for your deck's gonna be unbeatable. Oh, spooky karma. There's no one, and now it's like, oh my god, all these Bannerman decks.
Right.
You can't. There's no way to beat them. You can't beat Zed Bannerman or Fiora Bannerman.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what was very eye-opening for me, having casted that event with, or sorry, did the English rebroadcast of that event with Casanova, was like, a lot of people just brought like the meta decks. Like there was a ton of Bannerman decks. I mean, a lot of different flavors of it, by the way. But even if we just lump those all together, Bannerman decks, there was a bunch of Ionia, Freljord, elusives, the normal stuff that you would expect. And one of the players, Don't Be Mad, that his name was Don't Be Mad, was playing the Draven Jinx discard aggro deck and just playing it like on another level. I mean, he did for what it's worth get some really nice draws, like chaining Reckless Experimenter into Reckless Experimenter into it discards like it discards 2 triggers off of discard spells and like another thing, like a useless spell, into draw the third one. Like some really good sequences. Dang. But or into not the third experimenter, into a Jinx, which he immediately flipped. Like really good and strong draws. But like that deck, not necessarily like the top of the meta. I think a lot of people would say maybe it's like A- tier, like tier 1.5 or top of tier 2, something like that. But it's like he's playing it. It's got good matchups against, or at least it's possibly got good matchups against Bannerman and elusives. And like he did really, really well against those decks the entire tournament. So there's still a lot. There's still a lot to be explored. On ladder, there's still a lot to be explored in the tournament scene and meta itself, especially given the really different formats. Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
It's super cool. I mean, we talked about the Korea Invitational a couple of weeks ago, and the format being you need to bring 3 decks. It's Conquest, which means you have to win with each deck, and you can't have overlapping regions. So it's like everything gets played basically, unless you run a mono version. This tournament, the format was much more like traditional Magic the Gathering in a sense. Okay. It was you bring 2 decks. I think there may have been some sort of stipulation that like they couldn't have heroes overlapping.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't remember exactly, but it was, you bring 2 decks, you could overlap regions, at least in some capacity, and you play a best 2 out of 3, and you can bring whatever deck you want to each game. That was it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was just like, your second deck is basically your sideboard, except you have to sideboard in the entire deck, is basically how I looked at it. And it's just like a best 2 out of 3 for Magic. It was really cool, and like, I think more, maybe not more importantly, but quite important, it was really quick from a running a tournament perspective.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So.
Well, and like for a format like that, I mean, let's just talk. I mean, back to the spider conversation we just had. You can build, a aggro spider deck and have a sideboard that, a quote unquote sideboard that changes it to a controlled spider deck now, and it's just things like that are super interesting to me.
Yeah, if they had some sort, like, they could have sideboards like traditional Magic.
Yeah.
Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
There's no reason you couldn't. I mean, it's a digital card game. They can make the rules for whatever they want, right?
Right. Yeah, it would be really interesting. And then, like, what if you could bring in like a third? What if you could bring in like a third region, but only as your sideboard, so you only had access to like 10 cards from a third region or something?
That'd be interesting.
I think that would maybe be overcomplicating it and probably crossing a line that they don't want to necessarily do. At least not now. But I'm just that's a freebie. That's a freebie, right?
I feel we'll get, because they've talked about other formats they want to add, like more fun, casual formats.
Yeah,
I could see them doing a 3 region format or something like that, just for fun.
Just open it up.
Yeah.
It's like, here's rainbow.
Yeah, whatever. Let's just go. Let's do all this stuff.
Just call it vintage. Like, it's like, this is the broken stuff. You do whatever you want with whatever. Like, I think it, I think it would be interesting. Maybe I think people might have fun with it.
Yeah, it could be. I wouldn't like to see something that be the competitive format, but it'd be fun as shit. It'd be so fun.
I think that the distinction between like Hearthstone Wild and Hearthstone Standard, or whatever they call it, regular, would be as close as I would want it to being competitive. Like, if you want to give it a ladder, I don't have an opposition to that. Because I think some people are gonna like that more. And like, eventually, when 13 sets are out, maybe, Chumpwump doesn't have a place in the current competitive format, but like, maybe you can build a mushroom cap deck across all of the regions and make something really cool with Chumpwump. I don't know.
I mean, it'll happen. They'll just create a card that says your like play effects happen twice or whatever. Your summon effects happen twice.
Yeah, get Bran in here. And,
I just want to play that with Avarosian Hearthguard so bad.
God, that's
just
busted.
Dude, I haven't had. He's still probably one. He's in my top 5 favorite cards. I just love Avarosian Hearthguard so much.
Remember when he was a 5/6 for 5?
I do. I played a lot of him.
Why was he a 5/6 for 5?
Yeah, his stats are dumb.
It's like, yeah, I mean, 5/5 for 5 is already pretty good. I mean, actually, now that I think about it, 5/5 for 5 is just like pretty base rate.
It's just good.
It's just good, but it's not insane. Like, Demacia has a lot of those.
Do you remember when She Who Wanders hit champions and also had regeneration and was 1 less mana?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So stupid.
Yeah, I sure do. God, that the making cards not like making most spells not impact champions, I think was a really good good touch. Because like there's something like you can detain, but it doesn't really get rid of it, and like you can do like you can kill spells and whatnot, but not
being able to purify them and stuff. I think is super important.
Yeah, because it's just like
I still get people yell at me in stream all the time, like, "Oh, you could purify a Zed." I'm like, no.
But let me try that for you. You know what? Why don't you try that in your next game and let me know how it ends up? Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, it's from a follower. I can't do that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you can't just like neuter a champion like that. It'd be a little. Demacia doesn't need the help right now. Let's just say that.
Demacia doesn't need the help, and also I think it probably creates a weird, like. It creates it might be a coding thing that's weird, because like think about it, if you purify Ezreal, like does he stop counting, like, did the ones in your deck stop counting? Probably not,
exactly.
right? So then when you like level up, or when he would level up, the purified one, I'm guessing, wouldn't level up, right? But if you played another one, he would, and then there would be
Yeah, it
like
just gets
a
it's
first level
confusing, right?
Ezreal and a site, like already just in one example, it's already confusing. Not to mention like all of the other things that would probably be confusing.
There are enough really weird interactions in this game. We don't need to impose more.
Yeah, we need more clarity, not less. But I don't really have a good transition, but we got some changes to the progression system and economy here, Saucy.
Yeah.
This is pretty exciting.
So starting the 31st. So what is it? That's that.
Tuesday,
yeah, the patch on Tuesday.
Yeah,
They're reworking
Tuesday.
a lot. And so you can read the full notes. It's on their news. So just play Runeterrable.com.
Yep.
Go to the news section. But big things is they're changing the vaults. And I think this is pretty cool. They're starting to give you useful rewards starting at level 2. And then they're also not capping how big your vault can get. Which is really cool because for a lot of players, if you play a lot, there's been the feedback that it feels bad after you've gotten a level 13 vault. Where does your experience go? It just is thrown in the dumpster.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can keep upgrading, and it'll just keep giving you, more goodies. And so now starting at level 2, you get an expedition token instead of at 10. And then at 5, they've added a random champion card into the vault itself, and then at level 10 you get a champion wild card instead of a random champion. And then instead of what they've done is they've taken the guaranteed champion that you would get from your expedition run and they put it into the vault instead. Because the other feedback they've gotten from people is they don't like having to grind expeditions to get these champions. They'd rather them be back in the vaults originally. I mean, just like me, I was sitting on and more than enough tokens that I'm not using because I haven't been playing expeditions. And so if you don't like especially for competitive people, if you're, grinding ranked, if you're in masters, if you're, trying to climb the ladder and you don't have enough time, you're probably not playing expeditions.
Right.
So they want to give those rewards back into the vault.
Yeah, I think that's it. Even though I'm someone who really likes expeditions and wants to see them expand upon the expedition ecosystem, I do like that they're taking the rewards and putting them in sort of the base of the game. Because I have heard the feedback just anecdotally from friends and other players who are like, yeah, like they're like, Blev, how do I grind up? How do you have so many cards? It's like, well, first off, the first however many weeks I max bought, so that's the first one. And like, I understand people don't want to spend money, that's fine. But also I'm like, I just do expeditions. Like, you get so much experience, and like, yeah, but I don't want to play, or B, it's like I don't have enough shards to do it in the first place, and it's like, oh, right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of not enough shards, they changed the cost of entry for expeditions as well.
They did. It is now down to 2K shards, I believe.
Yeah. 2,000 shards or 200 coins.
Yeah, 2,000. Yep, right there. 2,000 shards or 200 coins. And also, again, you're getting an expedition token much earlier in your vault progression. So you're going to be able to play more expeditions more often and less expensively. They did take some of the rewards to away from that to compensate. So like keeping that ecosystem relatively similar. So really good there. They also did remove the limit on wildcards that you can buy. So now you can just, if you really want to, you can whale it out and buy out the whole set when it comes out, which I think I still see some people like complaining about that, but it's like, yeah, like some people are going to have an advantage very early on, but you as someone who's playing free to play is going to be able to climb up to that much quicker than you were before, and much quicker than in any other game as well.
I think a lot of it stems from just how we're programmed from card games. All of us who play card games, because we're used to, you play Magic, you spend $1,000 and get the set, whatever.
Right.
And it's interesting in this game because it is so what's the word I'm looking for? They're just so giving with the rewards that you get. It's just different because I mean I've had the whole set for a while now, like
Yeah.
a couple weeks. I've had the entire set, and I honestly don't play like you would think I play as much as I do, but I've only hit like level 10 vault the last couple weeks. I don't
Yeah.
play as much as you would expect, and I've have everything. So I think this is fine because there's for the people who don't have as much time and would rather just spend the money, they can just buy all the stuff. Someone did the math too, and just to purchase everything is so like comically like small compared
Yeah.
to other card games.
Yep.
I forgot how much. I didn't. It was a long post, but they mathed it out, and it's like 1/10 of the cost that you'd need from a Hearthstone set or something. It
Yeah.
was insane. It was so absurd. But then for if you are free to play, like you can legitimately just go in free to play. With just the rewards you get from playing the game, they're so good to you that you can have everything no time as long as you're playing, especially now since they're uncapping your vaults. If you are free to play and you just have the time, you could probably get the set in way less time than it took us that had capped vaults.
Yeah, capped vaults, and we're buying out the shops too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we've had if not literally everything, effectively anything that we've wanted for quite some time now. Like that part has kind of gone away, at least in some cases. Where it was still interesting and fun to like open up a vault and be like, ooh, I got a Callista. Now I can make a Callista deck. Not that like I was waiting to make one, but like now I can make one, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah. And it's especially as we get more sets, because there'll obviously be more cards. It's still fun because there's always going to be kind of those not tier 1 champions like Callista that you're not going to just craft. You're probably not just making them, but when you stumble upon it, you're like, okay, that might get my gears turning on things I can make.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, overall I think it's super good. Again, you guys can read the article on playruneterra.com.
And a couple more points on this that I just wanted to throw out there, because one concern a lot of players have is going into mobile. There's going to be a lot of mobile players, and I know a lot of people who only play on mobile, and they're concerned with starting, in the middle of this game, trying to catch up with people. I think these are all good things for new players, people coming in mobile to try and catch up. I think that's all good. And I saw a couple arguments about people who've been stocking up tokens for their runs, not getting the guaranteed champions anymore going forward. And yeah, I could see that how that might shaft you for those players. But then there's also you're hoarding imaginary currency in a beta of a game. But the game is still in beta. It's not out yet. Things can change again. Like they have all right to be like like right at launch being like, no, we're actually going to go back to cap vaults. And we can't get mad because we're play testers of the game. It is in beta. We're the ones testing these changes to see how they go.
Yeah. They can do whatever they want with the stuff that they give us for free. Like, just put it in that perspective.
Yeah. But I think overall this is good, especially for new players, which we're going to see an insane amount once the game is fully released, especially for things like when they do implement like a tournament mode or stuff. But, companies wanting to put out tournaments, it's scary if you're putting money on the table for a tournament on a game that's in beta. Like when you're a company, you're less likely to, fork out a big tournament for a game that's not out yet. So there'll be a lot of players come in once the game's released.
Absolutely. And you definitely want to reduce the amount of risk in general when you're a company like that.
Yes.
Looking to put money into it. Related to that, actually, there was a tweet that was replied to by Umbridge that I definitely retweeted and can definitely find in the time that it's taking me to delay what I'm saying right now. Yes, it's right here. So a person tweeted at them and said, is there spectator mode? Any plans for spectator mode, essentially? Umbridge replied, and I'm assuming that this is real. I don't know if it's photoshopped or whatever, so if this is fake, maybe Umbridge can confirm or deny that. I'm going to take it as a real thing because it's just a screenshot, I guess, of a public tweet, so I guess I can check. But planned, yes. Date in the it is planned. I'm paraphrasing here because it's in sort of internet lingo or internet grammar. It's planned. The date is in the next month, but they're not ready to share it yet. So within the next month, we might be seeing a spectator mode, which is mwah, mwah. Yes, please. So, I mean, pretty much the number one thing that we've been wanting since the game. I mean, even before the game came out, it's like we want to do tournaments, game nights, all that stuff for this, and it's just gonna be so much easier with the spectator mode.
Yeah, yeah, and it was a real tweet. He did clarify, and he replied back and said, to clarify, it's not coming in the next month, but once we have a clear path, we'll definitely share the details.
Okay, cool. So
yeah,
more details in the next month.
but it is confirmed that it's it is planned. They're working on it, but they want to nail down a lot of the game itself, get rid of bugs. Get the client itself working, because there's still issues like right now, like if you challenge a friend it doesn't work and there's some weird bugs, but once the game's working fine, he did say, yeah, once they have a release date it will be made public.
Yep. I mean, it makes sense, and honestly, after having did the rebroadcast of the German tournament where it was just essentially sharing one player's perspective via like Discord, conceptually, I thought that was going to be really scuffed, but in the midst of it, like, it really didn't feel bad at all, honestly. No. Like, I thought, man, we're not going to be able to see the opponent's hand. We're not going to be able to give any analysis. It's like, no, actually, in a lot of ways, we get to go deeper in analysis because we're actually thinking from the player's perspective because we don't know. We literally don't know. Like, we can think more broad because we have all the time at our hands and we're talking as two people. We can be like, oh, they might have Will of Ionia here, where it's like, well, yeah, if they have Will of Ionia there, you know that they could have it because they do. Like, we know that they do.
Exactly. I think like it's not as bad as you would think.
Right.
But as like a spectator sport, you have to have that I don't know, being able to see it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm talking as we're still going above and beyond, at least essentially, to 100%. Have the players be in a Discord call where we're sharing video, etc. Like, that's still like a lot to ask.
But it's still possible, right? Like, it's not as bad as I remember when the game was in, it was just came out of its closed beta, the second closed beta, and Blevins and I started talking, and the first thing we're like, yeah, we want to run tournaments. We're like, but how the hell are we going to do that? Like, if there's no support in the client, it doesn't seem possible. But to see that there's people doing it, it makes me feel good,
Well, yeah, and it's not like it's not possible. It's just, is it
hard?
Like, I am not. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to do the back end part of it. I want to cast it and have people doing it. So
yeah, we're gonna leave the back end to Callista.
Yeah, we're gonna keep talking about Callista's back end, but not the back end of casting or of producing that tournament. So yeah, let us know what you think about these changes. I think mostly in our Discord, at least, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. By the way, gotta get the plug in.
It's perfect. Yeah.
I think most people were pretty on board with these changes. I didn't really see too much dissent at all, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. And so the people who want to spend the money can, the people who weren't going to spend the money anyways don't have to. I feel like it's fine, but yeah, we'd love to see your opinion. So please let us know.
Yeah, let us know in the Discord or in the comments, depending on where you are watching and listening. So let's move on here. Oh wow, this episode's been breezing by, man. We're like going. So I want to talk about a couple of things here. We touched on Bannerman before, and that's sort of that's like the new hotness right now, is like mostly mono Demacia decks with a splash of between 3 and 6 cards. Usually either Zed, or I've seen Shadow Assassin, I've seen Might, I've seen Rekindler. I've seen Rekindler. Like, is the Bannerman itself the problem and does it need to be nerfed?
I don't think so, honestly. I think people just need to get used to the deck and learn how to beat it. I feel like this is kind of the thing we see every time something seems oppressive. We saw it with Ezreal. We saw it with Elise decks at the start.
Yep.
The big one was Dawn Speaker. We saw it with
Yep.
that. And I just don't like. We talked about it last week with the patch notes, but I don't like when something is strong, jumping to it needs nerfed.
Yeah.
I like to maybe we stew on it, see ways to beat it. And like for me personally, I've been having really good luck against this deck playing War Mother's Control. Having
Yeah.
3 Ruinations is good. Having, Avalanches, just a lot of board clears, I think, is fine. And if you remove threats, the Bannerman's not as good. It's only good if there's a full board.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely the oh, well, this card is above the curve, so let's bring it down to the curve. It's like, yeah, but if everything's on the curve in terms of power level, the power level curve, everything's on the curve, then like, isn't the game just kind of boring then?
Yeah.
Like,
I think the card is very good. You have to also remember it does technically have a downside. Like you do need to get the allegiance off, so it does limit your deck building. You can't just splash like just for Bannerman. You can't play like the Spider deck and then throw in a Bannerman. You can't do that.
Right.
Like so it does change your deck building. It is very powerful. It's a very strong effect. Minion combat in this game is very important. That's why mid range is so strong. But I don't think it's the end all be all. Needs nerfed. This is ruining the game.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, maybe you could tune it down a little bit, like make it like even something like it doesn't pump itself, like it's just always a 3/3 and pumps everything else. Like, okay, sure. Is that going to really change anything? I don't know. It will certainly make it worse. And we'll tone it down a little bit, but I'm not 100% sure it needs to be toned down for all those reasons that you said. Again,
I love the effect. I'm glad this effect exists.
Yeah.
Lets a lot of go wide strategies exist. Like it does. It's one of the biggest reasons we're seeing a lot of the mono Demacia decks flourish, which is awesome. I love the effect. If they were to change anything, I don't want them to change the mana cost. I think that if it gets more expensive, it's just so much worse.
Right.
I think you could change the stats on the card if people really want it changed. Then you still get the effect. But I think it's fine. But that's just me. I don't think it's too oppressive at the moment. I think people just like to play decks that get tranced by it.
Right. So. Yeah, and I think again, it's like, well, maybe you need to make that early trade. Maybe you need to make that like slightly inefficient trade earlier on, because if they Bannerman it, all of a sudden their board gets insurmountable, and it's much easier to be like, oh God, well, they had Bannerman on 4, so I guess I lose. It's like, well, what if you thought about them having Bannerman on 4 on turn 2? Would you have done something differently? Potentially.
Yeah, and I mean that's exactly the things that I've had to change as a player. Like I've gotten blown out by this card obviously too many times. Like it's all happened to all of us. Like they Bannerman with Zed or Fiora or whatever. And like after it's happened enough times, I started thinking like that. Like, man, it sucks right here, but I have to grasp the turn earlier than the turn they can play the Bannerman. Because if they hit that Zed, I'm effed. So like sometimes you have to play a little more inefficient. But if you win the game because of it and you play differently, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Right. Yeah, the one for me was Frenzied Skitterer, actually playing an aggro deck. It's like, okay, I need to open attack here, even though I can actually squeeze in an extra minion. It's like, because if they have Frenzied Skitterer, I just don't want to play out the rest of the game. Like I feel so behind. And after that happens, it's like now turn 3, like before I either start the turn or whatever, it's like, I'm gonna think for a second here. If they have Frenzied Skitterer, am I screwed? Okay, yes I am. So let's attack and get my damage in, and then play from there.
Well, and then you have to remember there's also players out there named Saucy Mailman who every time they play a Bannerman, it doesn't have allegiance no matter what.
Yes, so, and Uthgar as well, just always hitting the 3 and 40.
Yep, literally. Oh my God. Yeah, there's that one night I had in 6 games, I only got 2 allegiance off. So, woo, that exists. 1 in 30? Yeah, we're gonna fail. Let's go.
We are going to fail. Yeah. I accept that.
But I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think so too. But let us know what you guys think as well. Yeah. Because maybe
tell me I'm wrong. You won't hurt my feelings.
Maybe there's some anti Bannerman anti-Bannerman here. Is there maybe one more of these topics that you are particularly interested in, Saucy, or should we go into the listener questions?
I don't want to talk about a next set.
Yep.
We talked about the competitive format. I I think we talked about all this stuff. I think this is fine.
Okay.
The only thing I'll say, okay, there's are there any still undiscovered, underrated decks? I think so, yes, but I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And they probably don't have Callista. I've been testing so many Callista decks. Like, I think all I've played is Callista decks this entire previous week.
Yep.
Can confirm she's still bad, but not as bad as I think we previously thought. Because I am climbing, albeit very slowly, but I've gotten to Plat 2 with her. There's a lot of losses, but she's not as terrible. She's definitely tiered 4, but she's not as bad as we thought. That's all I'll say with her.
I think almost any, if not like certain champions, I think almost any combination of regions that we haven't seen yet, it can be competitive. The one that's jumping out to me is Noxus Ionia.
Yeah.
I can't think of a deck that's Noxus Ionia. That's like a legit deck right now.
I mean, Karma can make anything legit, right?
Right. Like Karma Draven or something, maybe. Karma, I mean, like, these things don't seem like they'd be natural fits, but neither did Draven Ezreal, right? Like, but that's
I mean, we saw there was a Karma Jinx deck for a bit that I saw that was so sick. I got destroyed by it. Like, double casting Jinx's Rocket is pretty sick.
Yeah. Yeah. Karma can make a lot of things crazy. And I mean, like, the Noxus, Freljord, like, 5+ power deck, like, that made a splash for a bit and then kind of fell off a little bit. The Ash decks.
Yeah, and I feel like there's got to be something with Shen that hasn't been messed with, but I just don't know what it is. I can't build, like, my brain doesn't handle Shen. I don't know what to do with him.
Just
like
Shen.
My brain can't handle Katarina. Like,
yeah, that's
my
another
brain
one.
Can't handle her, but I feel like she's broken. I just don't know how.
I think there's the thing about her is that she's deceptive because she's cheap and she gives you extra attacks, so it makes you think that she's aggro, but she's actually not cheap at all.
Yeah,
she's actually extremely expensive because you have to keep
pay it every turn.
replaying her over and over and over again. So like, what you don't just put her in your like 1 and 2 drop aggro deck because you're going to end up like you don't play her on turn 3 and then like, ooh, I flipped her, now I get to start doing stuff. It's like, nope, you actually ruined your
you have to
pay the mana again. Like, your board gets worse because she goes back, and like it's things like that like, what about like a Lucian Katarina deck, like something that just like gives you effectively like extra turns in a way because you just keep attacking and attacking. Maybe there's something there, I don't know, but we haven't seen it at all. And then of course, like, Yasuo and Shen are 2 champs that I think we see almost none of. Good riddance to them, like, by the way.
let's thank Teemo, for instance, the card we literally didn't see a single copy of ever on ladder, like, because no one was crafting Teemos or playing Teemos. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh shit, this is a great aggro card. Like, let's put him in burn decks, and now he's all over.
I will point out that back in preview patch 1, grandfather of competitive card gaming and creator of Hearthstone himself, Reynad, pointed out that Teemo is one of the most powerful aggro cards in the game. But 'tis neither here nor there. Yeah, I think there's definitely some undiscovered and underrated decks for sure. Things that we haven't even seen yet that could definitely be good. Okay, let's get into we can do a couple of these, get a couple of these out of the way. Let's start with Sasuke, who asked, what cards would you like to have changed for better or for worse? For example, they'd love to see Clump-a-Wumps get a buff because it doesn't really do enough to warrant playing it. So what's a card that you would like to see changed?
Ooh, that is interesting. I don't know. Clump-a-Wumps is a great one. I think he could get the 2/3 treatment because it's bad. He just doesn't do anything.
Right.
I'm trying to think of things that I'd like to see played more that aren't.
Poro cards.
Yeah, Poros in general. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation of new Poros coming out that might actually just make the Poro archetype in general be fine.
Poros would be better in our made-up vintage format with all of the regions unlocked in your deck.
I mean, Heart of the Fluff is insane when you get some sweet keywords on it.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing Callista Poros has been my deck, so it's been my go-to. That's interesting. So cards I want to. I mean, I'm gonna say I'd like Black Spear reverted. Like,
yeah,
that's just the thing that I'd like to see changed back. God, do you have any? Because I can't think any offhand.
Yes, I certainly do. One that I want, you know, we did see an uptick in play of the what are they called? Not the Bloodborne, the vampire cards, the ones that are like
the Crimson dudes.
Yeah, the Crimsons. I was thinking Bloodborne. I mean, that's kind of what they are, Bloodborne, right?
Yeah.
The Crimson crew. I think those are interesting. I almost would like to see a like I don't want to say a Mage Seekers level like redo of the cards, but like they just seem so like lackluster in a lot of ways because they're just like they're little cards and they have little effects. And I get that they're supposed to be like Vlad's clan or whatever, so like he drains the blood off of them and then you get the value, but it's like it's so linear and so like not even super strong when you pull it off. I mean, it kind of can be if you get the like really like nut draw with it, but even then it's still very vanilla and not super impactful. It's like, okay, you get Vlad and the 2-mana one. It's like, okay, I did 2 extra damage and at the cost of hurting my guy. It's like, okay, like at least the one that makes a copy of himself, puts a copy in your hand, like that's a cool one because it's a cool effect. You can keep copying it and like you could theoretically build something around that and do something maybe broken or at least cool with that. But the like when you survive damage, deal an extra damage to your opponent, or like I get slightly bigger with the Freljord cards. It's like
the Scar
boring.
Reaver people.
Yeah, I get the flavor behind it where it's like you hurt me, I get stronger.
Yeah.
It's just boring. Those effects are pretty boring.
So I think a couple cards that I'd like to see changed a bit. One, I think Herald of Spring would be interesting if it got a little redo. I don't know how I'd want to redo it. I don't know. Like if it stayed at 2 mana, I think it could use a toughness bump. Because Herald of Spring, its effect is quite good. And it's one we saw a lot of early on that people were using to counteract aggro, but we don't see played anymore. I'd like to see him get a reworking. Yeah, exactly. We see very niche. I think it's one you could maybe throw in a tournament setting, like in a sideboard or something if you need more healing. But more interesting, I think that the Starlit Seer, because I've been trying to make Starlit Seer Poro or Starlit Seer Timo work.
That's the one where when you cast a spell, it gives the top creature +1/+1.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 2-mana 2/2. I would almost like to see this be like more expensive, so make it like a 4-mana, even a 4-mana 4/4 or something, so it sticks around. Because a 2/2 is so easy to kill, and this effect is sick. And also, you're never playing this on curve because it dies on turn 2,
right?
Which is one of the reasons you can't ever play it. So I'd like to see it be more expensive and have better stats. Like if it was 4 mana, you could even make it. I know they don't like making more toughness than health, but like if it was a 4-mana 4/5, this would see like considerably more play.
Well,
it'd be sick.
That, I mean, you get into Chillwind Yeti territory. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I think it'd be sick. Like this card's effect is so damn cool, and it's such a great card, and has an owl on its artwork, which is important.
That is true.
Like it's so cool, but it doesn't see play because you can't play a 2-mana 2/2 that effectively doesn't do anything when you play it.
Right. You can't attack with it. You can't block with it. It's just kind of there.
It sits on the back line, and like every game I played it, I've never once attacked with it. It just sits back there buffing my deck, and it's so cool when you get it to work, but I'd love to see it cost more and have better stats.
Yeah. I think I also, and I don't think this needs to be done anytime soon because like they can theoretically add more Elnuks, but like I don't want the Elnuk story to begin and end with the 2 that we got in the base set. Yeah. I want there to be something more around that. I almost I think that. Okay, that actually inspired me to one that I really would like maybe an entire overhaul with Yetis.
Yeah, the Yetis are garbage.
They're kind like that.
They're close.
Like you get Poros makes sense, right? It's like you get what you're doing there. They're kind of like Sliver-esque. They feel the most like a tribe. And spiders also feel like a tribe 100%. As well. I want like Yetis are there's like a mini like pseudo tribal behind it, kind of like how like tree folk are sometimes. Where like every once in a great moon you'll see something that triggers off of tree folk, but very rarely in Magic. The Yetis, it's like there's a couple of cards that reference Yetis and put Yetis on top of your deck or shuffle them in your deck, and there's, I think, is it only the one card that's like, if you control a Yeti, make a Yeti, otherwise put one in your deck? It's like
it's the Tall Tales, I think. Is
yeah. There's one card like, and Yeti is obviously a follower type, like a subtype. So like, I want to see something more with the Yetis. Like, give me something a little more. Either give me something that is more like, either give me something that's more like themed around the Yetis, which again they can do in later sets. So I'm not saying that they need to do it right now, but like, or like, because right now even a 5/5 for 1 mana, like adding cards to your, like adding vanilla cards to your deck is just bad a lot of the time. Yeah. Like they understand that concept because of how they do Expedition, where like you're not adding cards to your deck, you're swapping in and making the power level of your deck higher. You're not diluting your deck with other cards. But like the Yetis, the power of them is to put a super efficiently costed card in your deck, but like shuffling it in your deck, and it's like, yeah, but I'm playing spells and stuff. You know, a 5/5 for 1 doesn't even matter. It's like, even if
Yetis just need more of a theme and flavor, or like some kind of payoff. Like I could see like Yetis would actually be like a really sweet thing if we ever go into like a world where fatigue decks are a thing, where you're just trying to add more shit to your deck and run your opponent out of resources. That could be sick. I don't know what that would be.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to see something with Yetis.
Yeah, just do something with them, I think. Or like, I don't know. I would like to see them do something with it. That's fun. There you go, Sasuke.
I got a couple more. I got a couple more that I just thought of. Can I throw a couple more?
Oh, you sure can.
Legion Veteran. He's the 4 mana 4/5. Yes. Whenever another ally survives damage, grant it +1/+0. It's like, it being a 4 cost is terrible. It's so hard to fit him in. I'd love this card to cost less and have less stats. I was going to say
swap the stats with him and the other guy.
Like, this is like lower cost would be so powerful in a Vladimir deck. But it's hard to fit 4 drops in, because on 4 you don't want to be playing this dude. Like I could see that happening. And then another one. So I want to get your opinion on this, because this is just something that I've thought of. And this is, remember, I'm going to preface this. Saucy Mailman is a control player and doesn't play aggro.
Yeah.
But I still want to see this card get used. And that's Shiraza the Blade. I love this card's effect. 4 mana, 3/3, it deals double damage to the Nexus. But it doesn't see play.
No, it doesn't at all.
I would love this card to be good. And that's me coming from I don't play aggressive decks. I want this card to be good because it's super, super sweet.
Yeah, I mean it's like the card you pair with Kato the Arm, right? Like those are the two, and they
I think he's even on her card art.
Yeah, I think they're both on. They might both be on each other's card art. I don't know if they both are, but
yeah, because he's the arm, she's the blade.
Yep. You obviously want to pair her with Overwhelm, but the problem is that she's in that awkward, like, 4 mana 3/3 is like the most awkward, like power health, mana cost, ratio, because it's like, okay, an aggro deck, 4 mana card, not going to be a 3/3. I'll tell you that much, unless it has a insane effect, like Reckless Experimenter. That, even though it's a 6 mana 3/3, it's like, but you're also drawing 3 cards.
You don't play him for the body.
I mean, you play him because he has a body. He has a body in general. Like,
yep.
So you
are playing because you do want it to have a body because of its effect.
I mean,
so it's so weird.
Even if she was like a 2 mana 2/1, that would be super good. Would be way better.
Yeah,
1,000 times better, honestly.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
And like the problem I think that they maybe didn't want to run into with her being cheaper is like they want it to be viable to like they want it to be a viable strategy at least some of the time to go like turn 1 pass, turn 2 pass, turn 3 play a 6 mana spell. And like if she's a 2 cost, like you can play her on 2, attack, or like play her on 2 and then attack on your 3 and have 3 mana to like give her pump spells, and like that could be toxic in terms of the amount of damage you can dole out. But I think it'd be sick like, too.
Infect.
Yeah, I think it would be a cool. I mean, believe me, I want her to be like a 2 mana 2/1 or something like.
That'd be so
4
dope.
mana 3/3, not gonna happen.
Yeah. I just love I love the concept. I love the flavor. I think the card is super cool. Yeah. I've tried to make her work in Expedition so many times. I like today the one I was talking about, the mono Noxus aggro deck. I drafted her and the arm, and like every single time I played her, it was the most underwhelming turn I could have played. I'm like I could have played like just a 1 mana 3/2 and anything else, and it would have been better.
Yep. Yeah, it's I get that like the combo between them is kind of cute, but no. Not in my aggro deck.
And again, it's not even a thing that I like, but like I think if it played something like a Boggles or an Infect deck or something for Magic, like that's how I feel like she should work, right?
Yeah.
Like she's a cheap, not even greatly efficient stats follower, but like if you connect with her, you should be allowed to win the game. It's just how I feel.
Yeah, I
mean, you put a lot of work into making her win the game.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we could see her in like a PNZ deck. Give her elusive. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. Give her, and like, if you're spending all of that effort in your aggressive deck to put in buff spells first and then also use them, like, I feel like that's semi-fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The problem is like, you can chump block her first off, so like you just have a 1/1, you block her. That's fine, even though because like effectively printed on the card she's a 6/3, right? I mean, obviously it's technically better than that because actually it's different than that because it doesn't actually deal that much damage to followers or to enemies. So it's just the Nexus. But like attacking the Nexus, it's a 6/3. But you can get more value out of pump spells, which is cool. But like that's not really a super like that's not as much of a like what if she was a 4 mana 3/3 double attack? Like how much better would that be? Like 1,000 times better, right?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Because like she has really the built-in like first strike essentially.
Yeah.
Like she's basically like a flipped Lucian for 4 mana. Like
that'd be
a worse
really
flipped Lucian for 4 mana. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I think so too. That'd be pretty cool.
Right. There's another freebie for you.
Yeah, I love it. I just really want to see her exist.
Yeah, I really like the like they're not champions, but they're like sub characters in the card
they
game.
have like names.
Cytheria, her, Jay Madurin or whatever his name is in PNZ, and all those cards are really cool, and I think a lot of them are super powerful. Rasa. Which is really cool. Okay, let's do one more.
We could get this one in pretty quick. If so, Quick Spike asks, what other regions then Freljord do you think fit best for an Ezreal deck?
Oh yeah, I got some opinions.
So that one we got a pretty cool. The Noxus Ezreal deck is very, very sweet. It plays Draven.
Yeah.
It plays the aggressive spiders, but then you also have Chump Wump. You play Blade's Edge as a way to target.
Yep.
Coaling Strike. Nox and Guillotine is really cool with this.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's
Guillotine.
really cool.
Yes.
This the Guillotine. That deck is.
Give me that Guillotine.
Give me that Guillotine.
What's the one card that you always give a like Southern accent?
I have no idea.
Oh, is it Bannerman?
No, I don't think so.
Or no, it's not Bannerman. I'm not thinking of Bannerman. I'm thinking of God, we were talking about it before. Pumps your whole deck 5/5 for 5.
Avarosian Hearthguard. Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yep. I always I make him very, very, very southern.
Very southern. I pump your entire deck, son.
My life for Freljord.
Yes, Freljord are just they're mountain rednecks. That's what we'll.
Yeah, which is why I am part of the Freljord.
Same.
But yeah, the guillotine is sick with Ezreal.
Yeah, I really like it. It's got a lot of cards that you don't expect, and I think it has a little bit of surprise factor. I've also played a little bit of this in normal because I am not ready to play this on ranked yet. There are
It's hard.
It is hard because it's like you're running Noxus and you're running Draven, so it's like, oh, okay. So I want to be aggressive, but it's like actually you kind of don't because you're running like a control deck. So you're constantly like, am I discarding my axes to pump Draven? Am I discarding my axes to rummage? Am I discarding like there's a ton of different decisions to make. And like using your axes effectively as like cards, like card advantage rather than power is just a whole nother axis that you have to be ready to. It's the axes. Yeah, the axes put you on another axis. I think that might be an episode. That might be an episode title if I've ever heard one.
I love it. There's another thing. There's another thing about this deck that is very sweet, and Draven in general that I just recently thought of just playing against a lot of Draven decks.
Yeah.
When you have the axe in your hand, you get to attack a lot. Your attacks are more favorable than your opponent's blocks because you always have that ability to pump your dude. And being able to bluff that is the mind games that I love in card games. And I think like Draven adds that aspect to your deck and to your playstyle where you can attack a lot more aggressively and favorably because you can always just, you might be able to block. You might have an elusive that blocks my Ezreal, but maybe I just buff them up and, kill you.
Right. Yeah. The buff bluff. Although it's not even a bluff because they know that you have it. So it's like...
Yeah, like you have it. The card's flipped over on the face. They see it. And that's the scary part is your opponent knows like, damn, he's got 3 axes. Like my blocks all now suck.
Yep. It is. And then if you have anything else extra, it's like, well, I have this. So you're playing around what I have. But actually I have another thing. So I get to blow you out anyway. Yeah.
There's also the other thing because I don't know if this has ever happened. Have you ever seen a Draven flip ever?
I mean, I have, but that's just because I've played a lot of Draven and Expedition.
Because I know I've seen it happen one time. Draven flipped has Overwhelm. Did you know that? Because I always forget that.
Again, yes, but only because I've played him a lot. He's one of my favorite champions just in general, so I played him a lot in Expedition. But yeah, he's a 5/4 Overwhelm. He creates 2 axes when he strikes. Yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah. I always forget he has Overwhelm, and your opponent probably will too. So just
true. I can confirm that my opponents will forget.
Real truth.
And yeah, I mean, I've played I think every combination of Ezreal deck. I've even played like Lux Ezreal. So like I've played Mono PNZ. I played literally every possible combination of regions with Ezreal, and I think my gut actually leans a little bit more towards either Ionia or even Shadow Isles. I think Shadow Isles Ezreal actually is, like, depending on what you're expecting in the meta, is actually a really strong Ezreal pair because there's just so much removal in it and it's all targeted, or a lot of it is.
The other thing about the Noxus version is you also get the Sentry, the Arachnoid Sentry.
Yes. Yep.
Which is stupid. That card is so dumb.
Yeah.
The
really
Karma
is.
one is sick too.
Karma is good because you get the
Double
7 mana double Arachnoid Sentry.
Yep. What is it? Yon. I always want to call him Yvonne.
Yon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always want to say Yvonne. It's not his name.
Yeah.
Yvonne Windchaser.
Yeah.
And you get to play everyone's favorite William of Ionia.
That is true. One of the best cards in the format right now, for sure.
Easily.
Okay, Saucy, I think that's just about our time here. So cool, nice little chill episode, little recap of everything that's going on. So thank you everyone for listening. Make sure you are going to the Discord, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. That is going to be the place to find us for sure. You can also follow the show on Twitter, twitter.com/Runeterrable. Saucy, where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah. I'm just Saucy Mailman everywhere. YouTube's become my home, so just youtube.com/Saucy Mailman. I also stream on Twitter or on Twitch from time to time. Full disclosure, right now my Twitch streams are up in the air. I am ghastly sick at the moment. I'm actually like pouring sweat with a fever at the moment, but I love you guys so much, so it's fine. But Twitch streaming's it's tough at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, Discord. I live on Discord, especially working from home right now.
Same.
I'm literally on Discord. If you can talk to me about anything, I don't fucking care. Just throw me messages.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's been a blast. You guys are keeping me from going insane from being stuck inside. I haven't seen the sun in 2 weeks.
Ooh. I luckily like went outside just to check today, just to make sure the rest of the world
Just that the sun is still there.
Yeah, I did. It was great. But yeah, you can find me on the Discord as well. Make sure you're checking all of us out there. But for me, you can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/the_Blevins. But make sure you're following the show and all of that, Discord being the best place. But that is going to be it, guys. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you guys all next week on Runeterrable Radio.